The Butterfly Effect by Nikayla Sarai. Chapter 15. Black Lines. Roman took the lead, a sharp change from his first warp as he practically pulled Thomas off his feet in his haste to get out of the time stream. Thomas exhaled. Reds. He kept a tight grip on the actor's hands, preventing him from leaving too soon. It wouldn't be good if he brought Roman out years too early or minutes too late. "This way," he said, tugging the actor to the right and out of the rainbow current as he brushed the golden star marking the chosen moment. Thomas let go of Roman as soon as the time stream vanished, allowing him to take the lead as they walked into the common area of a small apartment. Roman stopped, spinning in a circle, letting out a low whistle. "Ha! I'd forgotten how tiny this place was," he remarked. "The palace always felt so large back then." Palace? This complex was seriously called the Palace? Thomas shook his head. He'd seen many apartments through his warps, and this one was like walking into a glorified closet. Large? The place could barely hold an uncomfortable-looking couch and a TV. It was my first apartment after moving out. Of course it felt huge, Roman shrugged, watching his younger self sing and dance around the kitchen with a fond smile on his lips. It cost an arm and a leg, too. The landlord loved to charge for every little thing. Garbage pickup, cleaning checks, parking, utilities. He shook his head. Really, for the money he was raking in, he could have at least built the place with thicker walls. Thicker walls? Thomas gestured to young Roman. "The singing, I take it?" Bang! 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 Roman winced, hunching his shoulders as he turned to the door, showing Thomas the myriad of cuts and scrapes on his back as he did so. Yeesh! He'd seen the amount of glass and thorns Patton had placed on the lid of the first aid kit in the adjusted timeline, but that looked quite painful. Yet Roman hardly reacted to them. Thomas frowned. That coffee boy had done quite the number on the actor. How many of those faint scars underneath the fresh wounds were caused by him? Roman's younger self groaned in response to the knocking. "Geez, it's only 8. "Yeah, I was rather loud," Roman said in a low voice, as if he were afraid of being heard over the music. "I had multiple tenants complain." Sounded like a typical Red. "And this particular complaint is important to you?" he asked, glancing at Roman's bright lifeline. It barely had a speck of gray to it at this moment. The actor shrugged. "Before today? No, I had completely forgotten it until—" He pointed to the door as young Roman opened it, focusing on the young man swaying in the doorway. Logan brought it up. Thomas raised an eyebrow. "Your coffee boy?" He looked to the dark-haired male. The figure standing in Roman's doorway hardly looked like the hot-tempered. He squinted, pulling up the lifeline for view. Gah! He dropped the line like it was a live snake. Roman jumped, whirling to him. "What?" Thomas shuddered, taking a step back. How had he not noticed that lifeline before this point? "I can see why you don't want this interaction to happen." The actor raised an eyebrow. "Why would you say that?" Thomas made a face. "His lifeline is, well, red at this point, but it goes—" He rubbed his hands against his uniform, trying to get the greasy feeling off his fingers. "Black," he whispered. "Influential, but not in a good way. Trouble, heartbreak, agony, death. Even though all colors were needed in the rainbow of time, the time genies actively avoided interacting with black lines on principle. It was a waste of time energy to even try to help them." Roman exhaled, turning back to the figures yelling in the doorway. "Does it stay black?" Thomas blinked. "Stay?" He glanced to the future, his eyebrows shooting upwards. Impossible. A color change? Black lines didn't change once they went dark. It shifts to a midnight blue. His gaze sharpened. Just after Roman came back into the coffee boy's life, actually. The tense muscles in Roman's back relaxed. That's good? Blue is good, yes, but it's very rare. Once a lifeline goes black, it shouldn't change. But Logan's had. Thomas frowned to the boy in the doorway. He didn't know how, but Roman had managed to pull the coffee boy's future out of its dark downward spiral. Well then, Roman flashed Thomas a grin. If it's already changed once, why not see if I can keep it from going black in the first place? He asked, rolling his shoulders, moving towards his past self. Same drill as the first time, right? Just merge with myself? Keep it... Thomas fought to keep his skin from turning purple. Roman was trying to change Logan's life? He grabbed the actor by the shoulder just before he entered his younger self, pulling him back to face him. You can't be serious... He was. Thomas could see it from the glint in Roman's eyes. Reds. He tisked, dropping his hand. Why was he even trying? He already knew this warp was going to end in green. You're supposed to be changing your own choices, Roman, not theirs. Thomas jabbed a hand to the yelling coffee boy. Remember, you have to keep all 3 of these decisions you make. If this goes wrong... He gestures to the necklace that he knew Patton had given him. You lose the change you made in your best friend's life. How would Roman feel, knowing that Patton could have become a famous doctor, yet being unable to see that timeline realized because of a foolish decision? Roman brushed the crown necklace before dropping his hand to the shimmering pocket watch. He took a breath, lifting his chin, squaring his shoulders. Well, I won't mess it up then, he said, giving Thomas a grin as he took a step back into himself, just as Logan punched the young actor in the face, the 2 Romans flashing gold as they merged. Thomas shook his head, reluctantly grabbing the 2 red lifelines up once more. But you will, he whispered, glancing to Logan's black lifeline, his heart fluttering as he watched it, waiting to see if it changed, waiting for the golden sparks on the actor's timeline to flash. It was stupid to want to believe in Roman, that it would all turn out well. But how could it? Despite the actor's good intentions, he would end up no different from any of the others. After all, Thomas's warps always ended in green.